So the Wikimedia Foundation has been running a contest called The Sound of All Human Knowledge to choose a sound logo for Wikimedia sites. That's a short audio clip that's associated with Wikimedia. Now you may be wondering, why does Wikipedia or Wikimedia need a sound logo? That's what I was wondering also. I mean, there's no sound on their websites and there's no commercials for Wikipedia where it makes sense to put in a little jingle. But actually it turns out there is one use where a sound logo would come in handy, and that's with smart speakers, also known as virtual assistants or voice assistants. So you can ask, hey, Joni, how many moons does Saturn have? And then she'll give you the answer and then give a little ding at the end. So you know the answer came from Wikipedia or Wikidata, and thus you're getting the best possible information. So the contest is being run by a company called Massive Music, which is an international music agency. They got over 3,000 entries from over 100 countries, which is pretty incredible. So if you're kicking yourself for not having sent in a submission, I wouldn't worry about it because there's probably at least one entry out there that sounds a fair amount like yours. Anyway, the people at Massive Music, along with some Wikimedia volunteers, have spent the last 2 months or so picking 10 finalists out of that group of 3,000. And today is the day they released the final submissions for voting. People can now vote for the next 2 weeks. So I thought, what better way to handle this vote than to have an all-star panel of Wikimedia and MediaWiki affiliated people giving their thoughts on these submissions, where all-star means people who've been on this podcast before. Although they're all stars also in their own way. Anyway, it's kind of a silly contest, but it's also actually kind of a big deal because whatever sound is picked will potentially get played millions of times a day, every day for who knows how long, maybe decades to come. So yeah, I'd say it's a big deal. So hopefully this group of experts at something or other can help you make the right choice for you and for generations to come. A little more about the rules of the contest, by the way. Each sound clip has to be between 1 and 4 seconds in length. It has to be copyright free and it can't contain any spoken words. And the winning entry will get a chance to professionally re-record their little clip with Massive Music. So if there's a clip right now that you like, but it sounds a little amateurish, don't worry because they'll, I guess, polish it up. Enough of that, let's introduce the panelists. Going in alphabetical order, first up is Daisy Chen, who is a senior user experience researcher at the Wikimedia Foundation. She's done a lot of work with user testing, so maybe she's tuned into what the average Wikipedia user is looking for. Daisy, welcome.
Hi, thanks. I don't think I have anything else to add other than what you already said. So, yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Excited to participate.
Yeah, I have like a dumb question for each panelist. So here's yours. I never got a chance to ask you this before, but your name sounds a lot like Daisy Chen. Is that a coincidence, or are your parents engineers or something?
Nope, they're not. They're actually all kind of accounting finance folks. And I think my name actually came from the person who sponsored my dad to go to UNN. So.
Oh, how interesting. Okay.
Totally unrelated.
All right. Well, a nice coincidence then. Next up, we have Richard Knipel, who knows a thing or two about contests because he helped bring about all those Wiki Loves contests when he created the very first one, Wikipedia Loves Art, back in 2009. Since then, he's been involved with a bunch of Wikimedia-related initiatives, including the Wiki Education Foundation and Wikispore. Richard, welcome to the panel.
Thanks. Glad to bring the wealth of my branding experience encapsulated largely into Wikimedia initiatives that express themselves as annual acronyms.
That's true. Richard, you've run a lot of contests, but have you ever won a contest?
Yes, I just won the contest to name the mascot for the Prospect Park. So Prospect Park is a park in Brooklyn. Their mascot is a chipmunk. We had to name the chipmunk, and I named the chipmunk Thelonious Chipmunk after Thelonious Monk, the jazz artist, the New York jazz artist. And sure. I got a tote bag, and I got a membership at the Prospect Park, and I can go roller skating anytime I want, as long as it's Wednesday. So I'm really proud of that. And thanks.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. You clearly belong here. That's great. Next is Trevor Parscal, who used to work for the Wikimedia Foundation, where his greatest hits include helping to create Visual Editor and the Vector Skin. And then he worked for a long time at WikiHow, and now he does something else. I don't know. But he's also a musician on the side, so I thought that might give him some special insight here. Hi, Trevor. Good to see you.
Hey, man. Yeah, good to see you too.
So what's your favorite instrument on the synthesizer these days?
electric piano, a really good electric piano that sounds really convincing, like a Rhodes Mark II recreation. It's just so fun to play. There's a lot of character to those instruments, especially with how much they change as you hit the velocity harder. And it really gives you a reason to hurt your fingers trying to smash the keyboard.
Fantastic. You're speaking my language. The Between the Brackets theme music is actually in a fake Rhodes.
Oh yeah.
All right, cool. Finally, we have Denny Vrandečić, head of special projects in the abstract Wikipedia team at the Wikimedia Foundation. You might best know him as the main founder of Wikidata, although I like to think history will remember him as the developer of the world's first widely used universal language. Although, who knows, maybe history will remember him as the main founder of Wikidata. Anyway, smart speakers already make pretty significant use of Wikidata from what I understand, including stuff like pronunciation of different words. And maybe they'll make use of abstract Wikipedia too in the future. So I assume Denny has some personal interest in which sound gets picked. Hi, Denny, welcome.
Hi, Aaron. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be back on Between the Brackets.
Thank you. I was wondering about this. How many Q codes at this point do you know by heart, Denny, would you say?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's under 10. It's widely under 10. Q42, okay. Q13, Q5, and
I know that one.
I think, but it stops very, very soon afterwards. Oh, and Q2000. I'm not actually sure. No, so that's it basically. I'm afraid I don't know more than that.
A disappointing answer.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I don't speak Yiddish.
Well, at some point, I assume everyone will, but well, let's get to it. So I have here, it's kind of a jerry-rigged solution. I'm playing them off of my phone into the microphone at maximum volume, and
probably similar audio fidelity of what people will actually hear in their homes one day.
I'm sure all sound engineers.
That is true. That is true. You might be getting the authentic. There's
a lot of really expensive recording studios that play things through cheap Bluetooth speakers just to make sure they know what it sounds like for the plebs.
Oh, sure.
I'm sure
okay.
Well, validated now.
All right. Well, here we go. This is the cheap reproduction, hopefully not too cheap, of the first sound. That's it. Here, let me play it again. All right, a lot going on there.
I don't think we heard anything.
Oh, you didn't hear anything?
No.
Okay. Okay, there may have just been, if you're watching this, there may have just been a big cut. Turned out that my phone idea didn't work, so now I have to share the screen. So let's. So you just heard it once. Let me play it again now. This is the very first entry, and people watching the video can read along. There's a lot of text about each one, but I feel like the sound should speak for itself. Okay, yeah, a lot going on there. Daisy, let's start with you. Any thoughts?
It's pretty pleasant. And I think I stopped by the site maybe a week ago and I heard some clips of other ones and I was like, these sound like, the notifications I get from my text messages. So this was nice.
Oh, you're saying it's a step above that.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Richard.
Yeah, it seems positive. I got a little bit of like a bell, like aha. I think I got a sense of a bell aha. It was something like if Americans are familiar with the ABC, and now so something like something like that. I feel it could be a little bit weirder. So, but I'm waiting for the other ones to fulfill my desires in that regard.
Trevor.
It kind of sounds like more than one device is notifying you at the same time. There is like a tone that kind of connects them, but it's really it's kind of quiet. And so it kind of sounds like maybe like two different cell phones that are like, like Signal and Telegram are both giving you messages like a second apart.
You think it might cause confusion?
Perhaps.
Denny.
No, I like this one. It has a bit of tones. For me, the ultimate sound logo is basically the Intel dum 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 dum, and this has like a similar vibe to it. It sounds like something that could burn into our memories and will be attached with what a good logo should do. Will be attached with Wikipedia.
Very good. Yeah, I was reminded a little of the Intel Inside sound also. Okay, next up. It's number 2. All right, one more time. Richard, what do you think?
I like that there's some human sounds. It reminds me a little bit of the TED logo, the TED sound logo. But yeah, it was good. It's different, something different, giving it some like no language human sounds. So totally neutral, no meaning, but maybe some emotional meaning. So that's fine.
That's true. Yeah, Trevor.
Yeah, I guess even though you can't make out what people are saying, in theory, people are talking, and so it's either not breaking the spoken word rule or it breaks it like 1,000 times at once.
Okay, Denny.
I really don't like this one, to be honest, because I imagine you're asking for something serious, like you may be asking a question about World War II or whatever, and then you get this sound logo with laughter from children. It's like no. It should be more neutral, I think, in order to be able to be attached to anything.
Daisy.
Yeah, I guess I could see how that was maybe a little mocking if you asked a serious question. Yeah, something more neutral would be good. I think just from a personal perspective, the sound of a human crowd kind of puts me on edge, but that's just me.
Fair point.
Oh, interesting.
I think I'm with you on that too. It's like a little bit nerve-wracking.
Too mirthful and maybe too, I don't know. Too many people. All right, interesting. Okay, sound number 3. All right, one more time. All right, yeah, and you can read there's an explanation there involving knocking on the door, as you might guess. Trevor, what do you think?
I think every single time that played, I'd be looking to see if there's someone at the front door. That would seem like that would be a disaster on a loud enough Bluetooth speaker.
Very interesting. Denny, how about you?
I like the piano part in the end. It's really nice, but the knocking doesn't work for me as well.
Daisy.
I would agree with that. I think they're kind of disparate sounds, and I do like the arpeggio part, but not the knocking.
And Richard?
I like the high concept. I like that there's like someone knocking and then they open the door and there's like a whole like story there. I'm not sure, if it works in this context, but I admire the figurativeness of it.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, maybe too many ingredients in this one. I don't know. Okay, we're moving on to number 4. All right, and one more time. Okay. Denny, what do you think?
It has something a little bit magical, like reminds me of like Disney and sorcery and thing. And I can totally see this like opening a box of answers and getting this one also. This one is cute. I like it.
All right. Daisy, how about you?
I really enjoyed it. Just that was my first reaction. I also really like this submission note. It just sounds very academic, and it also sounds like there's a lot of thought behind it. I don't know what sonic phenomenon does not conform to equal temperament means, but I appreciate the sound. I appreciate the work behind it.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot going on. If you don't read the description, that involves microtones and temperaments and so forth. Richard, how about you?
I like it. I think it's got sort of like a rainbow-like quality. And it reminds me a little bit of the first one, but it's a little bit more like spectrum-y, and it's sort of nice.
And Trevor?
It sounds like an achievement unlocked on like a child's like iPad game, and I've got 3 kids. I've heard that sound, I feel like, already like hundreds of times, but I'm sure it wasn't the same one. But I think that part of the magical sound of it, which is kind of cool, like that sound, is probably to do with that strange tuning that they're referring to, which is like you couldn't play that on a piano, which is an equal temperament instrument.
Okay, a little music theory explanation there for what's going on. Yeah, I guess you're saying the ascending arpeggio has been done too much, at least in your world already.
Yeah, I think it's a little cliche, I guess is what I mean to say. It sounds nice though.
Okay, moving on to number 5. Here we go. One more time. Daisy, what do you think?
The first part was kind of like a fairy tale, and the second part was pretty jarring. So, I'm not sure.
Interesting. Richard.
It's a little bit suspenseful. I sort of got, there was an unusual tone that we haven't had in some of the others. It was like, what's going to happen next? And I guess that's another wiki experience you can have.
Trevor.
Supposedly that jarring sound is computer keys, but it sounded like more like the paparazzi has arrived. I kind of made me feel like someone's taking a photograph of me or something. It was very unnerving.
That clicking at the end. Okay.
Yeah.
Denny.
That's like with the here, and I like the music, but even though it's a little bit too tense, it doesn't really resolve the sound entirely.
We seem to have lost Denny a little bit, but I think we got most of that. Okay, very interesting. Yeah, I guess no one was a big fan of the computer keys.
I thought they were fun. As they were.
What? Sorry.
I do like the idea of keys in general, like just like typing, maybe like something like maybe something like a manual typewriter too would be even better. But
I'm just not convinced that was a computer key sound, or if it was, it's not very recognizable in the way it's been processed.
Right. Yeah. Unless it's an extremely fast typer,
yeah.
typist. Right. Okay. Moving on. Number 6, I believe. Okay, that's different. All right. One more time. Trevor, what do you think?
I feel like this has potential if it wasn't synthesized voices. That just kind of, it's like the uncanny valley of audio there, where it's not quite human enough. But yeah, I mean, it's maybe I would make, if this was shorter and had real people singing it, it'd probably be a pretty dang good submission in my book.
Yeah, very interesting. I had a Casio synthesizer that I think had this same sound on it a long time ago. Denny.
Let's see if it works. Do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, very good. No, it sounded too much like trying to be a Gregorian chant in very, very short. And yeah, even though monks are related with knowledge, it didn't really give this full Wikimedia experience.
Would it have been different if the voices were, were human or lower or more resonant or something?
If there were a bigger diversity of voices, I think it would be really could have changed that thing a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay. Daisy.
Yeah, I think the strum just maybe went on for too long. And yeah, definitely a little bit of Wallace and Gromit choral ensemble there. Yeah.
Very interesting. Richard?
Yeah, I like the chorus metaphor. It's a good metaphor, but maybe people could play with it a bit more, maybe have some more diversity of voices, or I'm not sure the the music goes right with the sounds so much. Maybe it should be more of a pure vocal thing. Not sure. And also, yeah, maybe natural rather than synthetic.
Sorry, what was that last part?
Maybe natural rather than synthetic, as Trevor suggested. And others.
Right. Okay, we're up to number 7. This one might be the shortest one of the group. Let's see. Okay, one more time. Man, I've already that one really threw me off. I don't know who to even start with. I think Trevor.
I feel like that's going to be really catchy and annoying. It's what they call like a mind worm or whatever they call
Earworm.
Earworm, that's the one, yeah. It was jarring compared to the others, but anyways, I had to admit, I think I'm gonna be like thinking that in my mind for the rest of the day.
Right. Denny.
I would be worried if those words mean something in some language and could have a secondary meaning. But also it sounds, I don't know, the first connotation I get is like those Italian exploitation movies from the 60s, like Mana Mana and this kind of sound quality and stuff like this. So it didn't really work for knowledge in some way, even though I understand it's supposed to be the keyboard clacking, but no, it didn't really work out that way.
Interesting. Yeah, if there are any kids listening, that Mana Mana thing from the Muppets started out as something not quite from the Muppets. Daisy.
That was a bit stressful for me to listen to. I appreciate the sentiment behind it, but yeah, it definitely did this panning from left to right thing, and it was a bit much.
Yeah, Richard.
I like the mouth sounds. I'm not sure, it's the way to do the interpretation. Maybe a little bit. It might be a little bit stressful, a little bit much, but it's an interesting idea. It's different, which is I give points for.
All right. Number 8 now. All right. Some drums in there one more time. Oh, sorry. I cut off the. Here, I want to give it the full benefit. Here we go. The second time through. Okay. Denny.
I like the idea that drums are used for communication and things. So this kind of is nice. It just gives a very strong direction the whole thing. I'm not sure. Yeah, but in general, yeah, it sounds nice. I could imagine that. Yeah.
All right. Daisy.
I would love to hear more about the inspiration, like the accessibility inspiration and how that ties to the actual sound. Overall, I think I'm a fan. It is more melodic, like, yeah, the rhythm of the drums is a little bit, I don't know if I tie that with Wiki, but I could see this being it.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, the description mentions some visually impaired people, but I don't know I'm not sure what the connection is either. Okay, cool. Richard.
Yeah, I was struck by how realistic the typing was. It was like maybe too realistic. I thought it was you typing, Yaron, for a moment.
Oh, you thought it was me typing? I can't.
Yeah, I thought it was you typing for a moment. Then I listened to the second time, I understood it. I like the drummy aspect, but yeah, maybe there could be more of an understanding of how it relates to accessibility.
Trevor?
I think it's a little too long, and I would cut the doom top out of the beginning of it, like the first 3 beats. And then I think it's really strong. I do like how there's drums, but it kind of, when there's that much drums before you hear melody, you kind of think, all right, this is like gonna start a whole song. You don't think it's just like a little sound icon.
You wanted more or less, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess it makes you think you're gonna get more, and then you get so much less. So I feel like it sets you up to be disappointed or confused. But it sounded pretty good.
All right. Okay, we're on to number 9 now. All right, a lot there. One more time. Okay, Daisy.
I felt like I was listening to 4 different ones at once. It also sounds a little bit like, I don't know, one of those Scholastic commercials I used to watch when I was really young. It sounds a little bit generic. Sorry.
It's fair. Richard, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it does sound kind of scholastic, although that's kind of, that's kind of the universe that I would be thinking of. I mean, it's a bit generic, but I don't know if it's like a universal thing or if it's like a US thing, but to me, like that, like scholastic or like, did you know, or you know, the more you know type thing is one of the worlds that we might be playing to, but I don't know how that works across cultures. But also this might be like too many things, but I do like sort of like a little ding at the end. It feels like it's like a sort of a childish thing, but it it resonates for me, I guess.
Right, it's like you did it. Trevor, what do you think?
Yeah, I really agree. It sounds kind of generic. It's real corporate rock, man. It's just this all the other ones, they kind of had their own unique flair and take, and as much as you're kind of thinking like, oh, if you could just make it a little bit more normal, you'd be there. And then when you hear something this normal, you're less like so disappointed. You're like, never mind. I just want to go for the wildest one.
All right, Denny, what do you think?
I kind of liked it. I like this light bulb thing, this in the end, the ding, the high thing. It was a little bit busy though, as Stacey has pointed out, with the paper and the typing and everything together. So yeah, that was busy. But I like the melody.
Yeah, nobody really made like a 1 or 2 second short thing. Maybe, everyone, at least among these, the winning submissions, for what it's worth, they're all kind of full.
They're all trying to do too much.
Could be interesting. Okay, well, let's move on. There's one more contender, number 10. Let's listen to it. Okay, one more time. All right. Well, if you were hoping for something minimalist, I'm not sure if that's if that's your winner. But let's see. Richard, what do you think?
I like that it has books in it. It has paper, so there's a shout out to paper. I mean, we'll see if keyboards go extinct. Keyboards are probably going extinct too. But, paper is even farther in history. But I do like that there's some reference to that, and there's a little bit of a sense of like the librarianess of the world.
Cool. Trevor?
Again, if it was just like the second half, just the dun 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 dun, that would be great. But the crescendo, I feel like it's a little too I don't know, nerve-wracking to listen to. Maybe the paper's ruffling. I'm not sure what it is in it, but the other part's very pleasant. And if they just cut it down to that, it'd be perfect.
Okay, Denny? Uh-oh, he's frozen. Okay, I hope we'll get back to him. Daisy, what do you think?
That's a great freeze. I actually liked the first part. It was jarring, I agree. But it kind of felt like how I would envision the sound to be drawn into this vortex, or like the rabbit hole of Wikipedia that a lot of people refer to. So I do like that element of it. I think if it were toned down a little bit, that plus the second part would be really great, actually. I like this one.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, people weren't that big fans of sound effects and so forth before, but I guess it works better in this one than in some of the others. Hopefully Denny will connect back soon so we can hear his thoughts on this one in general. Okay, it looks like he is coming back. He's connecting. Well, we can get to him later, but let's go through and I don't know if you can really remember every one of these. Hopefully you were taking mental notes at least. Trevor, what do you think? If you had to pick 1 or 2 highlights from this, what would you go with?
I actually I think the last one is the best one I heard.
Interesting.
You know, even though I really feel like the second part would be sufficient standalone, I think the first part, as Daisy was suggesting, if it was just smoothed out a little bit, could stand on its own as well. But yeah, I think it's more memorable, and could be succinct enough that it could be really great.
Okay, a vote for number 10. Denny, it's great that you're able to connect again. We didn't hear your opinion on number 10. So if you could share your opinion on number 10, and then if you have any vote for what your favorite or favorites are overall.
Can you play the last one again? Sorry.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, the page turning there and everything.
Yeah, it's very busy again, like the previous one that we had. Also, the beginning, it almost sounds like the same that we had earlier with the voice one, and it's very tight and busy going on. I do kind of like it. It's full of stuff, but it's also not very recognizable. It doesn't have something that really attaches somehow to my brain when I hear it.
Okay, and your thoughts overall? Do you
Overall,
have any favorites?
Yeah, yes, I do. So overall, I really like a lot of them. You can hear there's a lot of going on here, and they're great contenders. My favorite was the first one. This one had it's still like the most chimey one, the one that has the most of a thing that kind of recognizes it. This one, and I also like the one with the rainbow at the beginning. Which one? I think this was the number 3 that we had.
Number 4, maybe, with the
yes,
equal
4.
temperaments and all that. Yeah.
Exactly. So, but the first one is my favorite.
Okay. Very interesting. Daisy, what do you think about overall favorites?
I'd have to say the last one, or the drum one, which I think was 8. Yeah. Can't decide between those two, but I just wanted to note from a usability testing perspective, it would be cool if they could somehow like redo the order for everybody who comes to the site. I don't know how they decided on what to list first versus 10th, but it looks like it's just static and doesn't move. So I don't know how helpful that is for the last one. But
I think it's alphabetically sorted by the left column, is my guess.
Yeah, I don't know how they decided on that.
Right.
So, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, we do have provisions for like board elections and similar things where they display the candidates in random order. They should do that here too.
Yeah.
I guess they're not. They should. And definitely there's someone wrote those templates. So put a lot of effort into writing those random templates.
That's true, and for what it's worth, both number 1 and number 10 have gotten some votes. I'm gonna guess it's based more on the sound than on their location, but you never know. Maybe those two have some advantage.
There's got to be some recency bias going on, but yeah.
Well, it could be. Unfortunately, we can't redo this panel in a different order, probably. But it's Richard. Any favorites out of these?
I think taking into account the psychological effects that recency that may be biasing me and others, I do kind of like the last one. I like the ruffling of papers, and I think it's kind of fun. It feels like material. Maybe it's nostalgic. I don't know. I think that has some elements that might be nice. I mean, I like a bunch of them, but that's one that stands out. Possibly because of the ordering.
Possibly because of the what?
Possibly because of the ordering. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, there you go. I guess number 10 with the book ruffling is the overall favorite of this panel, but there were definitely votes for some of the others. Like number, gosh, I don't remember all the number 1.
1, 8, and 10 are the ones that I voted for the most.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Very cool. And I think Denny also liked number 4 with the arpeggio.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
That was nice too. Yeah.
I think Denny, you preferred some of the ones that the people in the rest of the panelists thought were a little more pedestrian and generic. You know, that's why we have a panel. You know, that's just personal opinion. And I guess maybe there was a sentiment that some of the people were trying a little too hard with these. I don't know, it was a little too busy.
Yeah, see, so the problem with all of these is no one took my suggestion, which if I was to make a submission, it was going to be based on a bus in the Honolulu airport. And it would be the sounds of the bus running and the airplanes coming up and down, and also some Hawaiian music in the background. And I'm kind of disappointed that none of these are nearly as busy as my submission would have been.
Wow. Well, yeah.
This is the Wiki bus.
Yeah, the Wiki bus, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. It's a good idea. Yeah, it's too bad you didn't get to submit that one. Well, this has been great. I certainly enjoyed it. I hope people have enjoyed listening to all of it. Yeah, and thanks to all of you for contributing your thoughts on all of this. I think this turned out really well. So yeah, that's it. And you guys should all, of course, go out and vote for your favorites, and everyone else should as well. And we'll see what it wins. Yeah, thanks to all of you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thanks. Fun idea.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks for having us. Yeah, bye.